Greetings, salutations, respect, and love. I am Scott. You're in the prog corner. Hey, boys and girls, it's time to do my favorite non-prog albums. Yesterday, I rattled off my 15 favorite prog albums, and it was a hit, man. We've already got like 3,000 views in less than 24 hours. You know, I waited 18 months to do that episode because I figured, who cares what I think, right? I mean, everybody's got an opinion, so why is my opinion any more valid than anybody else's? It clearly is not. Today, we're doing the top 15. Well, my favorite 15 albums that are not technically prog. You know they're going to be pretty progressive records by, progressive artists. And in fact, most of you have already figured out what's going to be at number one. I'm not doing anything by The Cure or The Smiths or The Police or The Cars or The Jam. Really hurts my feelings because I love those bands. Next week, I'm going to round this thing out and do my top 40 prog albums and top 40 non-prog albums. Today, we're just going to do a top 15. And oh boy, these are good, man. I'm really excited to tell you about this. This was so much harder. Who knew there were so many non-prog bands out there? It's just crazy, man. Because we're covering every genre of rock today, where yesterday was just prog. So today, anything goes from metal to, hard rock to country rock to jazz rock to soft rock to whatever rock. It don't matter. At number 15, from the Motor City, it's Sufjan Stevens presents Come On, Feel the Illinois. This used to have Superman up here, but I guess they got sued. DC sued him for that. But what an amazing album this is. 2005, Sufjan dropped Michigan in 2003, and the idea was that he was going to do all 50 states. We know that wasn't going to happen, but wow, what an album this is, man. All Things Go. I just adore it. At number 14, we're going all the way back to 1978. And my favorite Judas Priest album, Hell Bent for Leather, known in the UK as Killing Machine. I love this album, man. Every song on here is just amazing. Evil Fantasies, Evening Star, the title track, Delivering the Goods, Running Wild. You got Green Manalishi, that Fleetwood Mac cover. This album is perfect, and it just kind of pointed the way for them to, do British Steel and the stuff that made them big superstars. But this is my favorite Judas Priest album. I love it to death, and I got it at number 14. At number 13, we're going to Boise, Idaho, boys and girls, and Built to Spill, and their third album, Perfect From Now On. Oh, man, I really dig these guys. The first two albums are, basically shorter songs, indie pop songs, whatever. But here they expand. Doug Marsh and the band really stretch out their legs. All these songs are like 7 minutes long. There's an 8-minute song. There's a 9-minute song. So this isn't your typical Pacific Northwest indie. This is just pure greatness. And the album cover, my friends, wow, this is just a great, great record. And I love Built to Spill. I really, really do. So that was at number 13. At number 12, another real good one, boys and girls. It's the Dismemberment Plan. Oh, yeah. This was the album that came out in 1999. Pitchfork gave one of their very first perfect scores to this album. Their very next album, Changes, was awesome too. I think they gave that like a 9.5. And then dude, man, Travis Morrison, the lead singer, does a solo album, and Pitchfork proceeds to give it a 0.0. What do they know over there? They know nothing. But I'll tell you, this album right here was the soundtrack to my life for a good 4 or 5 years. Every song is amazing, really progressive, really cool, tight rhythm section, cool lyrics about disillusionment and growing up and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, this album here, man, highly recommended, and I got it at number 12. All right, at number 11 from 1977, it's the first Cheap Trick album. Yeah, man, these guys used to play the bowling alley back in my hometown in Waukesha, Wisconsin. They played Sunset Bowl a bunch of times, and when they finally came out with this album and the local rock station, WZMF, played Monticello. I knew I had found my new favorite band. I love this album. The third album's real good too, Heaven Tonight. But honestly, they never topped this amazing debut album. Bunny Carlos, Rick Nielsen, the guys, Robin Zander. Just an incredible album of power pop, and I love it very much. Now let's get out of the U.S. Let's go to the U.K. It's 1979, and Gang of Four drops my favorite debut album of all time. Yeah, I like this better than In the Court of the Crimson King. I like this better than any other debut album in the history of rock music. Entertainment. It is so amazing. Every song on here is jagged, angular, dissonant. There's so much thought that went into every single chord that they were playing. The beats are really tight and funky. Man, oh man, I could go on and on and on for days about this album. The lyrics are extremely right-wing or left-wing. These guys are just basically commies, but who cares, man? It's just so good. It's entertainment from Gang of Four. Their second album, Solid Gold, is really good too. But yeah, entertainment, just perfect. I love it. At number 9, going back to the USA, going to Boston actually, and it's Pixies and their second full length, Doolittle. Their first full length was produced by Steve Albini, Surfer Rosa. A lot of people love that and point to that as peak Pixies. I disagree, man. I think the next 3 are even better, starting with Doolittle, Bossa Nova, and Trompe la Main. Those 3 albums are just incredible. All 3 are perfect, but this is my favorite. I love it. It's got all the hits: Crackety Jones, Mr. Greaves, Gouge Away. Oh man, just perfect. Monkey Gone to Heaven, Wave of Mutilation, on and on. Every track is a hit. Every track is perfect. I love it. I love Frank Black, Kim Deal, Joey Santiago. What a band Pixies are, man. They're still going strong. Their latest album is actually really good. That's number 9, right? Yeah, that was number 9. Now we're going to number 8. It's Power Slave from Iron Maiden. Oh, dear Lord in heaven, their 5th album. Actually, their first album with the same lineup as the previous album. So this was the first album that they really were able to just settle down and do what they do. And it is the proggiest of all their albums. Well, of course, with the great 13-minute long Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. But I just love 2 Minutes to Midnight, Aces High, and that title track, man. The best song Bruce Dickinson ever wrote. Wow, I love this album. I love the artwork. The tour was amazing. Power Slave at number 8, boys and girls. At number 7, we're going back to the 70s. It's 1973, and Led Zeppelin drops their 5th album, Houses of the Holy. I might get in trouble for this album cover, so I better just show part of it, right? I heard people were getting in trouble for the naked bodies on here. It's a Hypnosis cover. This is the proggiest thing Led Zeppelin ever did, obviously. I love this album. It is absolutely perfect. Dancing Days, Rain Song, Over the Hills and Far Away, No Quarter. Every song's perfect. This is the absolute apex of Zeppelin, I think, anyway. Yeah, so that was number 7. All righty, here we go at number 6. It's London Calling, baby, from The Clash, their 3rd album. This dropped late 1979. So this was almost like the first album of the 80s. This had the secret track on it. It's even secret. They don't even call it. It's not listed anywhere. It was a hit, but this was a great album. 4 sides of greatness. The Clash's first 2 albums are a little more punk. This has a whole lot of different stuff in there, but I don't care. The songwriting's amazing. I love The Clash. Always have, always will. This album's perfect. You know it. You love it. And so do I. At number 5, let's stay with a double album from the UK in the 70s. 1973 saw The Who drop their second double concept album after Tommy. This one's even better than Tommy, if you can believe it. This one is so prog. It's got lots of keyboards and strings and all kinds of different instrumentation. It's just incredible, telling the story of some guy with multiple personalities and whatnot. Who cares about the story when the music's this good? I love Quadrophenia. I will always go to bat for this album. I consider it to be a prog album, but it's from The Who, so it's not prog, right? No, it's not. You know better than that. Let's stay with the double album, shall we? I see a theme developing here. 1984 saw the Minutemen drop their double album, Double Nickels on the Dime. This was their third album after The Punchline and What Makes a Man Start Fires. This was in direct response to their label mates, Husker Du. Both bands were on SST. Husker Du dropped Zen Arcade, which was a double album that got all kinds of positive reviews, like in Rolling Stone and whatnot. So the Minutemen said, you know, if you guys can do it, we can do it, and we can do it even better. And boy, did they ever. Oh, so great. You get a CCR cover on here, a Steely Dan cover on it. It's ridiculously great. If you don't know Minutemen, you really need to do yourself a humongous favor and check them out. Your life will never be the same. At number 3, let's go to 1966. Yeah, it's Revolver. My favorite Beatles album. This is the one that's got all the songs that I love. What is this sticker on here? $15, man. Yeah, got this at Walmart. my old copy was just beat to shreds. I haven't listened to it yet. But Taxman, Eleanor Rigby, Yellow Submarine, She Said, For No One, Dr. Robert, I Want to... It just goes on and on. Every song is great. Rubber Soul was cool, but this took it a whole nother step in a progressive direction. Definitely pointed the way to Sgt. Pepper's and all the great things that they would do in the late 60s, but it all starts here. My third favorite album of all time. And here we go, the top 2, boys and girls. At number 2, we're keeping it close to home, only about like 50 miles away from where I sit. Guided by Voices, B-1000 out of Dayton, Ohio. What was this? This was like their 7th album. Their first 4 were, all done in Pollard's basement and stuff like that. And finally, slowly but surely, word started getting out as, people were talking on the internet that there was this band out of Dayton called Guided by Voices. And this is the one that broke them. Yeah, that is Robert Pollard's signature on there. Absolutely. I could have gone with Alien Lanes. I could have gone a lot of different ways with Guided by Voices, but I adore them, and this is my second favorite album of all time, B-1000, man. Hardcore UFOs, Buzzards and Dreadful Crows, Kicker of Elves, Tractor Rape Chain, Echoes Myron, Peephole. It just goes on and on and on. Her Psychology Today, big fan of the Pigpen. All these songs are short and all of them are just amazing. They sound like it was beamed down from some weird radio station in outer space and you can only pick it up on a real cheap transistor radio. And man, oh man, I used to sit around and daydream about how good these songs would actually sound in a real studio. So my brain goes through all of that work. And at the end of the day, I don't want them to ever do this album again. It's perfect exactly the way it is, with all the mistakes and instruments dropping off and, coming back in randomly and just crazy acoustics. It's just as horrible sounding. It's absolutely amazing. I love Guided by Voices, and this is peak Guided by Voices. But you came here to see what number 1 was, right, boys and girls? And as you probably know, XTC Drums and Wires is my favorite album of all time. That's not technically a prog album. Even if you consider prog albums, this is definitely a top 10 album for me. Probably a top 5 album for me. I love XTC. I love this album cover. This was the first album without Barry Andrews, their keyboard player, who was on their first 2 albums. He left to go join forces with Robert Fripp, leaving Andy Partridge and the boys trying to figure out what they're going to do next. Well, it's 1979. The thing to do is to hire another keyboard player, right? Nope. They hire the great Dave Gregory. So instead of being a keyboard-driven new wave band, all of a sudden they're a rock band with 2 guitar players playing all kinds of crazy stuff in opposition to each other. Oh man, the amount of dissonance and great guitar work on this album is just incredible. And then you get Colin Moulding and Terry Chambers, that incredible rhythm section. And you could make an argument that this is where the gated reverb drum sound that dominated the 80s started from, because you've got Steve Lillywhite and Hugh Padgham on this album working on the drum sound. Yeah, it's not quite there yet. The next XTC album, Black Sea, probably was the first one to really zero in on it, or maybe Peter Gabriel 3, but it's all about that same time, and this is the earliest of all of them. So I'm going to say this is one of the most influential and one of the most important albums of all time. I'm also going to say it's one of the greatest albums of all time. I don't need to go through the track listing here because every single song on here is brilliant. Every single song is amazing, and I just love XTC so much, and you guys know that. Anyway, that's my 15 favorite non-prog albums. Next week, I'm going to do from number 16 to number 40, both on the prog and the non-prog sphere. And I'm really looking forward to those episodes. It's going to be really, really hard to narrow it down. This was hard, right? Doing the top 15. Man, there's so many bands I've left off and so many bands I want to talk about. So I'm going to be working on it all through the weekend to try to get it just right. Anyway, boys and girls, got a little something for you. You're going to love it. Yeah, you are. In honor of Judas Priest. Put yourself in our hands so our voices can be heard. And together we will take on all the world. One more time. Put yourself in our hands so our voices can be heard. And together we will take on all the world. God bless you all. God save the king. I'll see you guys tomorrow when I'm reviewing the new one from the Samurai of Prague, the Man in the Iron Mask. Until then, have a great day. I'll see you punks. Peace.